Hello and welcome to this week's Guitar Learning Questions live Facebook Q&A session, in which I pick the top questions from the week, or one of the top questions from the week, and we'll deliver an answer via a video lesson so that I can demonstrate exactly kind of the answer to the question, how to overcome any problems, and you can see exactly how to go about kind of solving the problem that you're having. So the question for this week is about learning to play and sing at the same time. Play guitar and sing at the same time. Now, I'm going to jump in here and use a specific example of a song. I'm going to take you through a simple process, a few steps that you can take in order to break down the kind of coordinations that you're using into their simplest level so that you can learn step by step, getting used to the first stage for a little while and then building in a little bit more complex aspect, get used to the next step, get used to the next step until you're playing and singing the song exactly how it is, the full version of it. Okay, so the song that I'm going to use is Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changing. Now, it's a bit of an oldie, but sort of a classic. But these principles, they apply to any song that you're trying to play and sing. And now, of course, this relies on the fact that you can just about pretty much play the chords for the song yourself on guitar, and that you can sing the melody separate from playing guitar. And this is about the kind of process to get the coordination so that you can do them both at the same time. Okay, let's jump in and have a go with it. So here's what the chords sound like strummed fully for this song on their own. Just gonna tweak the volume of the mic down a little bit because I think it might be overloading very slightly, or maybe a lot. Okay, so that's the strumming part, and now I'll show you an example of just the first verse of the song played and sung at the same time. You can see how they kind of interact with each other, and then I'll show you the process of putting them all together. Okay, here we go. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam. Okay, not a great singer, a bit shonky, but it's the coordination between the two parts that I'm going to be teaching you. So that's sort of the full version of just the first verse. Now what I'm going to say is step one, okay? Stage one with this stuff is take the guitar part that you're strumming and simplify it. Bring it down to just one strum for each chord, okay, at the beginning of each bar. Okay, so here's how that would sound with this song. Pretty much it changes chord every bar, most of the time, sometimes not. So I'm just going to be strumming once on each bar. So we've got... Okay, so we've just got down strums, we've just got one down strum for each bar, okay? And then have a go at that as a working version, okay? Singing, strumming your down strums, and see how you are with that. Also, it might be a bit of a challenge and to throw you off at this level, but it's the most simple version we're going to start with and get the hang of. So it might take a few goes before we move on. Now, here's me having a go at that and what it might sound like. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accepted that soon you'll be drenched to the bone, if your time to you is worth saving. Okay, so it doesn't have the flow with the strum because it's just once, but it's the relationship between the vocals, the rhythmically and the strumming that is the tricky thing, you know. It's doing two things at the same time, multitasking whatever. It's building the coordination so that you can do the two things at the same time. So we simplify the guitar part to do that. Now, with this stage one, what I would say is also look at the words that line up with the first beat of each bar. So if you can get those in sync, it'll feel less challenging or less confusing. So often you'll find there's a word that you sing or a particular syllable of a word on each strum. For example, with this song, it's come gather round people. Okay, it's the gather that's on the first chord, and come comes before that. It's a bit of a lead-in or a pickup. There'll be a word that lines up with each one. So I'll go one more time and I'll try and emphasize the word that is on each strum, and you'll hear that they're in sync with each other, and it's those, if you can line those up, you'll be a long way towards getting the flow of the whole thing. Okay, come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accepted that soon you'll be drenched to the bone if your time to you is worth saving. Okay, so I'm not playing it in time exactly there, it's a bit shonky, in order to illustrate that there is a word or a syllable of a word that lines up with every strum most of the time. So it's looking for those, trying to match those up, so you've got the coordination to do those two things at the same time, and then pull it together in terms of the timing a bit, how I did it the first time around. Okay. Next stage is to bring in some more strums. So what I'm going to recommend is that you bring in one more down strum. Now, this song is in 3/4, so there's 3 beats in the bar, but most songs are in 4/4. So what I'd recommend in a 4/4 song is that you've got your first strum, and then you also strum on the third beat as well. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And all the strums are evenly spaced like that. It's quite symmetrical, and it'll sound nice to get you flowing with the vocal, and you can match up both of those strums with a syllable. However, the song I'm looking at, times they are changing, it's in 3/4, so it's not going to be so evenly spaced. If I'm going to strum beat 1, not beat 2, and then beat 3 in every bar, okay? But there isn't a beat 4, so it's not going to be so evenly spaced, and that'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, like so. Now, with the vocal as well, I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to try and match up those strums with some of the syllables, but I'm also going to kind of be a bit more free. If I'm singing where there isn't a strum, you know, it's okay to go with it and try and bring on board the natural flow of the melody and the words as well at the same time. Okay, here's how it sounds. Come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accepted that soon you'll be drenched to the bone if your time to you is worth saving. Okay, so the strumming, it's got a bit more complex. It's got 2 down strums now, still doing the vocal. Spend a little bit of time on this stage to get that level comfortable, 2 down strums and the full vocal, to get it feeling a bit more intuitive, feeling a bit more natural and a bit more comfortable. And then we move on to the next stage. Next stage, I'm going to say, is to start bringing in the up strums. Now, with this rhythm for this song, it's actually 1, 2, and 3 and. So, or down, down, up, the full version. So there's just 2 up strums to bring in. Now, you could do this in stages. You could just bring in 1 up strum if you feel like the last version was a bit tricky, or you could just go for it and try and bring all the up strums in, which is what I'm going to do at this stage. I think I'm sort of comfortable with it and I'm sort of ready for that. If you try to bring in all the up strums, which I'd recommend at this stage, and it's a bit of a disaster, then you can just bring 1 in, get used to that, and then bring them all in. But you might be ready to move on, so you might be ready to skip just bringing them in gradually. So it's not worth spending your time doing that if you're ready to bring them all in. So go for it first, bring in all the up strums, see how you are with that, and spend a little time with that version. You might be ready to go as you are doing the full version of the song as it is. So I'm going to go for that now, see how I am, and that's the final stage really. So here's how it sounds. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving. Okay, so did make a bit of a mistake there. I forgot to change around the chords with my syllables, so a little bit over focusing on that. And I'm looking at a chord chart for this where I haven't put the names of the chords directly above their words. They should be above. So if you are doing this and you're looking at the lyrics with chords above them, make sure you have lined up each chord above the specific syllable so that you don't try to do something that doesn't actually happen in the song, which I did there. And once you've got it, you can memorize it and just do it freely. But once you're trying to line up the strums with specific words and syllables, it helps if you've got an accurate version, or that can throw you off unnecessarily. Anyway, so that's the plan for learning to play and sing at the same time, is to get a little bit used to actually just playing the song on its own, get a little bit used to singing the song on its own. So it's just you. I mean, sing along with the original song, but also stop the song and practice singing the song just yourself. And then this process is for when you bring the two together. So stage one, you pull all of the strums out except for one down strum at the beginning of each bar, which the likelihood is it's one strum for each chord often. Okay, and you try and sing at the same time, matching each strum to a syllable if there's a syllable on that strum. Next stage, you bring in one more down strum. Okay, so if you're in 4/4, I would recommend you strum one on beat 1 and you strum on beat 3. 2 down strums. Okay, no up strums yet. Then stage 3, bring in your up strums. Jump straight in there. Bring in the up strums. Go for the full version as it is. And hopefully with those other two versions, building the more simple coordinations, the foundation coordinations, you're then ready to do the whole thing and not be totally thrown off. Okay. If you do get thrown off at that stage, peel it back a layer and go for just bringing one of the up strums, one of your choosing, and then bring in the others. You can always do it stage by stage until you're comfortable, until you can do the whole thing. It's about putting yourself in kind of a sort of learning sweet spot, so it's challenging enough, but it's not too much that it completely throws you off. Yeah, it's just that far ahead, so that it's stretching you and your ability, and then you get used to it, and then you stretch your ability a little bit more. You know how it works. That's learning. Okay, so this was our guitar Q&A video lesson for this week. Now, what I wanted to say is, if I can find it, I've written this down. As you know, this community is completely free, and I'd love to keep it that way. I'm talking about Guitar Learning Questions, our Facebook group for help and advice with anything guitar related. If you're watching this video elsewhere or listening to this in another place. And in fact, I want to grow this community into something really special. I want it to be the biggest and best kind of guitar learning community online, or one of them, a really supportive space where us guitar learners, we can come and we can talk about and get help with the stuff that really lights us up, the stuff that the other people in our lives that aren't really guitar people don't really get when we're talking about, or when we're interested in, so we can't really go there with them. But of course, I can't do this alone, and I need your help. So what I'm asking is, each week, if you enjoy this video lesson and you get any value out of it, it is completely free, but it does take me a little time putting this stuff together and planning the lesson and filming it and all that kind of stuff. It takes a bit of time and effort. Is what I want to ask you is, please just invite one guitar learner that you know into this group that you feel would benefit from these lessons, and put a person that might have their own guitar learning questions, or look for help with motivation, accountability, whether it's somebody who's about to begin learning guitar or totally at the beginning, or whether it's someone who has been playing guitar for a long time and they want to just keep that momentum and engage with a guitar learning community and yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. So I'm putting lots of time and effort into this, and I want it to be great. And so I'm asking for you guys to support that and help build this kind of community along with me. So if you liked this and you got anything out of it, please just invite one friend that you know to join Guitar Learning Questions, this Facebook group, and we'll go from there. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling and go outside because it's a nice day. So thanks a lot. I've been Ian O'Brien, and remember, this is Guitar Learning Questions. Thanks a lot.